very atmospheric with the cowbells, I think. I think it was cowbells. Pusha set the tone of his verse. But this line, the news called it crack, I called it Diet Coke. I was like,
oh. Yeah, all time drug bar, all time.
Oh my goodness. Hear the and they know it's me. Yes. Malice, passing down the street knowledge, but this information I must pass to the homies. If hustling is a must, be Sosa, not Tony.
Life lessons.
Yeah, life lessons.
Let me put you on game.
And let's move into our next topic. Let us talk about music. We've got a classic review for you guys, an album that I truly enjoy and I believe is a classic in the rap genre. Clipse. If you are not familiar with Clipse, they are a rap duo from Virginia. You may know them from their hit Grindin', which is a school desk and locker drumming classic. Everybody knows Grindin'. Like, you may not know the song, but you know the beat. It's a household beat at this point. So that kind of speaks to Clipse and their impact on hip hop, which we'll discuss a little later. But today we're going to review their classic album, Hell Hath No Fury, which is entirely produced by the Neptunes. You can hear the Neptunes, you can hear Chad Hugo, you can hear Pharrell all over this joint in their footprints. And them and Push and Malice, now known as No Malice, come together with one of the most unique hip hop albums in history. And I think something that is, whatever you feel about rap or whatever you feel about whatever kind of rap that you enjoy, an album that I think is, certainly worth a listen to expand your ears to what rap can sound like, because I don't think there's really anything like it, to be honest. No. But what are your thoughts, your overall thoughts about Hell Hath No Fury?
Yeah, this being the second album from the Clipse, it was very long awaited at the time. I think Lord Willing came out in 2002, really popped off in 2003 in terms of its overall impact. And so to wait about 3 years when they probably could have had it done in about maybe 1.5 years after that was definitely tough. And you can tell that by the way that this album sounds, even the title of the album, Hell Hath No Fury. You can tell it's dark, they're angry, and they have something to say. And it's really hard to have a strong follow-up album after a really critically acclaimed, well-selling, popular project. But they came back again with a really dope project, and I really enjoyed it. I personally wondered if they'd be able to, create something new. And what, like you said, the production was very unique. It was experimental. It was gritty, and it was they went to some interesting places. Chad Hugo had some very gritty, soulful, but also just rough beats that had a certain amount of pleasantry to it. So it was kind of like a yin and yang. But then when you listen to the lyrics, it was all dark for the most part. Dark, braggadocious, and just downright fun.
Just covered in cocaine.
Yeah.
If you bought a CD, you probably had to just dust it off from all the drugs that were on it. Yeah, there's no mistaking. Like, you could look at the cover. These was out here sitting on an oven. Like, it's very clear what this album is about, and they make no mistakes about it.
Yeah, and like, they just really, not just do they talk about cocaine and drugs and the drug game, but they also just describe what the lifestyle that afforded them, and that is how they carry the braggadocio. You know what I mean? So it's like, these are the excess of our exploits and our mastery in this game that they so gleefully, kind of tout. And even listening to it after 15 years, it's still surprisingly fresh. You still hear stuff that you don't hear that often in rap, but you can tell sound unique, and it's aged really well. And I love the fact that this album came out in the middle of the quote unquote hip hop is dead era. This is right in 2006, right? And I was looking at some of the albums that came out that year, and I look at this project, I'm like, hey, this stands toe to toe, if not is the best album that probably came out that year. Not a lazy verse, not a lazy hook, and I enjoy the project front to back. It almost sounds like I'm about to give my rating, but that's gonna come later.
Yeah, I mean, I think albums like this, we can discuss it a little bit longer because we understand the impact of it. I think we review albums a week after they come out, so we don't really have too much to say about how people feel about it because we're just kind of sorting through how we feel about it. But this is an album that's lived with us for, you know, half our lives at this point. Yeah, honestly, half our lives. But yeah, it's an album that was a bit of a cultural reset. You know, you look at albums like this, albums like Food and Liquor that came out around the same time, and these are albums that sounded nothing like anything we had heard before. And if you listen to them now, they sound completely fresh. They don't sound dated. A lot of stuff around that ringtone era, like it sounds incredibly dated and it sounds gimmicky, or it was something that you popped on your MP3 player that could only hold 3 songs and played it out, and then now it sounds like trash. But these albums have stood the test of time, and they actually like really nail home what's really great about hip hop and how diverse it can be. But let's get into the track list. They open things up with "We Got It for Cheap." For me, I think this is one of the hardest rap intros ever. Honestly, I think between this track and, of course, like I said, the cover of them sitting on the stove, like there's no if, ands, or buts about what this album is about. It's straight to the point. I think Pusha T has made an entire career off of talking about crack and cocaine, and it hasn't gotten old. I think he's mixed and mastered it. Yeah, he's mixed and mastered like so many different bars about, you know, coke, which I'm gonna get into because this album itself is a bar fest. But like, yeah, it's a really great introduction to, like we talked about, the innovative production, the rapping, and the style that you're in for the rest of the album. Pusha T is like, he's brazen, he's brash. He comes in saying, "I'm the best since he died and he lied," just coming straight at Wayne because this is around the time that Wayne was talking about being the best rapper alive. And if you listen to his flows, if you listen to Push's flows on this album, a lot of them are homages to Big. Like he's rapping just like Biggie on so much of this album, and it works so well. Then he goes right into "Mama, I'm So Sorry." The beat, like many other beats on this album, are so unconventional, but they're so hard. Like, is that an accordion? Like, I don't even know what
I said
instrument that is. just guessing at this point. I don't know what it is. Between Pharrell, Chad Hugo, and Timbaland, dudes from Virginia just be making beats out of everything. They go into a kitchen and just start banging pots and pans and come out with a hit. But yeah, Pusha on his rap bars, he said, I philosophize about Glocks and keys. They call me Young Black Socrates. Like he's just going off. But like, let me step down for a second. How do you feel about the intro?
I mean, that Spanish dude and those ad libs were just so fun and entertaining, man. Like, we got it for cheap, you know, and they were just really coming back to reestablish themselves because it was a 4-year hiatus between projects. You know, that synth organ piano over the straightforward drums allow you to hone in on the lyrics, and the production wasn't overly, throughout the whole project, wasn't overly indulgent in itself. It was a nice blend of like quality sounds, maybe 3 layers max most of the time, and it gave you enough space and tempo to just absorb the bars that Clipse was laying down, because they just had bars that were just outrageous. You know, they're typically talking about their ability to make extra profits on their business tactics, and I think you can really see the difference between Pusha T and Malice in this project. One is purely talking about culinary arts and extravagance, while the other is more focused on storytelling and the lessons that he's learned. I think you can tell who is who, and you can see why over time Malice has taken on the name No Malice and has kind of changed, because I think he's a bit more, he's always been more of the reflective one on his impact, and I guess that comes with being the older brother, being having to be more responsible. Then going into, you know, Mama, I'm So Sorry. You said all you could about those beats. It was a dope song as well. But then going into Mr. Me Too, just classic Neptunes. You know what I mean? The synth drums. It was a fun feature from Pharrell, and then Pusha laid such a fire verse with a dig at Jive Records at the end. It was just so on point. You know, Malice came through with the braggadocious energy, and he made for a really entertaining and gritty song overall. Then moving into Wamp Wamp with Slim Thug, I thought it was like the perfect feature for Slim Thug. And the beat was very unorthodox, but it was so engaging. It was high-pitched synth drums. And then I found out that, you know, Wamp Wamp is a code for high quality drugs, because it's supposed to be moist and wet. And I guess, you know, that illicit stuff having fungus on it shows you that, hey, this is straight from the Andes mountain over here, man. Like, they don't play with this. I think who was it that said, "I got the wamp wamp when I move it, it's still damp, mildewish. I heat it, turns bluish." Just
Yeah, that was Malice. Yeah, he was on one. Yeah.
just so much fun, man. Ab Liver on that. Yeah. Oh, actually, no, that's the next song. But yeah, how about you? What'd you think about this stretch?
Yeah, Mr. Me Too is certified hit. Yeah, it has a very drop it like it's hot feel because same producers. But yeah, I love how off kilter the production is. It's a good balance of like a commercial appeal and kind of staying true to what their sound is. And I was thinking about it. It's so crazy how you can draw the line from this particular track all the way to the Pusha and Drake beef, because they are not sparing any
Mm.
expense about going right at Baby, going right at Wayne. Like, you like they're basically spend the whole track just saying like you want to be like us, but you can't.
Mm.
And that's they really, yeah, they really haven't stopped, especially Push hasn't stopped, firing shots off at that whole camp for decades now. So
Yeah.
it's intriguing to see how you can draw the line from that to, story of Adidon. Basically, it's been a long war. But yeah, and Malice coming through, we cloud hoppers, tailor suits like we mobsters, break keys into dimes and sell them like gobstoppers. Like just elite level, braggadocio. But yeah, Wamp Wamp is amazing. Like the percussion is nuts. It's absolutely nuts what the Neptunes do on this. Like it sounds like one of those Caribbean steel pans, kind of like that you hear in the sandals commercials, but like
Yeah.
it's super super hard. And I think you see it on this song, but you see it on the album in particular. I don't know if it's because they're brothers, but like the chemistry between Pusha and Malice is so uh it's so palpable. Like their voices sound very similar, but you can tell the difference between them because it's like a subtle difference. But the fact that they sound similar almost adds to their chemistry in a way. It's really really dope. And that goes into Right Around Shining. I love that. I think we normally try to like describe what instruments are, but I'm struggling to figure out what they're using. I called it a
Yeah.
cascading harp. so, so we're just gonna go with that. But yeah, that beat along with those drums, the drums almost sound like someone like grunting,
Yeah.
but it works really really well. uh Malice and Pusha again just excelling lyrically. Malice saying canary yellow diamonds the size of yield signs. Like I don't know, just painting that picture is just so dope to me. uh
Yeah.
but yeah, a really dope section of the album. How are you feeling about the next segment?
Yeah, going back to Riding Around Shining, I said that the beat it was dark and moody, and the beat kind of glistens. That was my best. So
That's good.
harp, I
I think
think
that I
is
think that's better than mine. That's a good glisten. Yeah, that's a good description.
yeah, moving on into Dirty Money. I really like the synth guitar over the drum beat. They continue to rap about excess and extravagance. Just as much wordplay as you can handle. I'm sure you got some lyrics that you bookmarked. Going into Hello New World, which was so much fun and very atmospheric with the cowbells. I think I think it was cowbells. Pusha set the tone of his verse. But this line, the news called it crack, I called it Diet Coke. I was like, oh,
Woo! Yeah, all time drug bar, all time.
oh my goodness, hear the and they know it's me. Yes,
Mm.
Malice, passing down the street knowledge, but this information I must pass to the homies. If hustling is a must, be Sosa, not Tony. Like,
Life lessons.
yeah, life lessons. Just more jewels that he dropped on this track. Moving into Keys Open Doors. Oh my God, I love this song. I've loved this song for a long time. I love how there's also a very subtle, not actually that subtle, but there's like a constant high key piano note playing in the background. And I
Yeah.
thought that along with the title of the track, I'm like, this is so genius. And it's a song that, alludes to the name of the track. The whole song is kind of a double entendre about, kilos and the hard stuff having paved the way for them and their extravagance and their lifestyle essentially. And yeah, that song was a lot of fun. And Ain't Ya, another great song. Pusha T, and this is what I really wanted to say on this project. He's the master at saying simple stuff with an emphasis, which is also known as delivery. I think he's the reason, Pusha T in particular, is the reason why a lot of people think Big Sean is corny because the two rappers could be saying the same line, but Pusha's delivery will be so much better. You know, he said while on the boat with your crank, you know, I'm gonna cross it out. Salmon on her plate. I know you liked her. Blah blah blah. It was great, and I can't really emphasize how well that came off on the track. It was an ice cold delivery, and even though he was rhyming the plate with "it was great," the way he says it is just there's not too many people that can say it that well.
Malice too. I don't know what bar it was. Like it was he was saying something like, but at the end of the bar he was like, "I'm a socialite, nigga." It's just like just the way he said it was just so it was so smooth that it just like I don't know, it just worked. Like if someone else said it, like it might not come off that way, but they just have so much charisma that it works.
Yeah, like when's the last time somebody said something like, "Meanwhile, study something. It's Gucci Parker from France where the kids sing Frere Jacques." I'm like, oh my God. Just another one. Just another one. How about you? What do you think of this stretch of the album? Because I really want to go into that last stretch.
Yeah, I love Dirty Money. It's a very like in terms of like the homage to Big, it's a very bad boy like Diddy Mace-esque track, you know.
Yeah.
Talking all of the misogyny. Malice Malice saying, "By no means am I in love with the stripper. You understand that? You fit in the glass slipper." Like it's just terrible, terrible. I mean, along with the drug use, it's a pretty, you know, tisk album. But I mean, overall, it's still really fun and enjoyable. But yeah, Hello New World, like you said, that I wrote that Diet Coke down, that Diet Coke line down to its elite bars. A cool song about lifting others up as you find success. Like you said about Keys Open Door, that's a genius double entendre. And then you mix that with how the beat like itself actually sounds, and it's just incredible. And then you got Push on there just talking, you know, talking his mess. He said, "Open up the fridge there. There's 25 to life in here." Like just elite, bro. Like just chef's kiss, man. Yeah, Ain't dope. Trill, I think, is the only song that I don't really care for on the album. It's not. I know you. Every time I say that there's a song that I just don't like on an album, I just like I know such is just gonna be.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Not,
yeah.
It's not my favorite. It's not. Yeah, I think you put it on a lot of other albums. It might be the best song, but I think in the context of this album, it's probably my least favorite. I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay, I guess, but it's not. It's not my taste. But
I have to interject here. I have to interject here. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Trill. Pusha has probably the best verse on this album, on this song, and I would argue one of the best verses of 2006 on this song. That ending part, X and O's. I mean, talk show like Regis, King Push flow prestigious, X and O's tick. Bro, this verse. Pusha T in that Bentley GTO, no flow chameleon, worth about $1 million, sell Bolivian, feds in oblivion, Brazilian, purse reptilian. Took her from off far island like Gilligan. Are you kidding me? He channeled his inner Biggie for this verse, bro. Like this verse, start to finish, was as smooth and as punchliney and just witty as it gets. I'm sorry that this song took over this project for me.
I think Trill is fun. I get it. I don't know. Maybe it's just the beat or like the rhythm of it. I don't know. Maybe it just threw me off because of like how the rest of the album sounds. I don't know. It's just you don't play the game, but the soundtrack. It's not the soundtrack. The beat. It sounds like the track that they play on Mass Effect when you die. I don't know why. Just that like you know warped computer sound, like it sounds just weird to me. I don't know, doesn't do it. But it's just a minor speed bump in the track list for me. I can see why you like it because during the process of reviewing this album, like and listening to it, I like, you know, like when you sleep and you're trying to sleep and there's music running through your head, it's just like a random song or something. This was going through my head like almost like every night this week. I'm so Trill, man, like it's just so it's infectious. So I get the appeal. I don't blame you for liking, not as much as like Demeanor or any other the other terrible songs that you've told me that you enjoy. But I can see the appeal. But yeah, Chinese New Year, the next track is so hard. I love Pharrell on the hook with the brat cat. It's so fun. It's so enjoyable. They got bars saying "make a dude kick that can," fall victim to the click clack clan. My vixen eat your face like Miss Pac-Man. just just elite bars, man. It's rapping at its finest and really good, really good stuff. Nightmares, a good change of pace to really close the album. They've done all of this bragging about drugs and the lifestyle and the money, and it really shows the other side of that, because the game that they're playing is incredibly dangerous. So that comes with a lot of paranoia, that comes with a lot of fear and a lot of sleepless nights. So it definitely shows the other side of what they were talking about on the album. And it's a really good closer. I really enjoyed Nightmares, and it really kind of bookends what I consider to be a really great album.
Yeah, Chinese New Year, a lot of fun. I called it scatting onomatopoeia that Pharrell was doing on that track. It was,
Very
it was a
creative.
lot of fun. It was an ice cold chorus, and just the seriousness of Pusha T and him describing it was on some kick in the door vibes. Nightmares, again, Bilal delivers really soulful performance, and I thought his vocals were really good, along with his hook. And just thinking about the lyrics that they delivered, like Malice saying, "They be thinking nice car, nice crib. I be thinking how long these gonna let me live," and I was like, whoa, that's deep.
Yeah.
Just being painfully aware of that, and him just letting people know that I'm gonna stay a step ahead. Don't worry, you ain't gonna catch me slipping. And then Push on the other side of that, just being, talking about success and acknowledging his success and hoping karma doesn't come back to bite him, but at the same time, keeping his ears and eyes on the street and just, keeping a watchful eye. But like you said, a great bookend to this project. 12 tracks, 48 minutes, hard all throughout, man. Real good stuff.
Definitely. Let me get your 3 favorite tracks.
So, this is where it gets tough. I would say Nightmares, Trill, and this is where things get a little tricky for me. Keys Open Doors.
Yeah. Keys Open Doors for me. I'm gonna go Wamp Wamp. Chinese New Year. Can't go wrong. It's tough. Let's change it up a little bit, since this is our first classic album review.
Mhm.
For our listeners, tell me if you think that this album is a classic or is it not, and why or why not. And then tell me your recommendation level.
I like that. For this project, I would say it's a classic. I would say it's a classic because it has a sound that has aged really well, like I mentioned earlier, and styles that you can see that have influenced the genre going forward and has made a mark on hip hop as a whole. Again, this is in the middle of the ringtone era, in the middle of the hip hop is dead era. And to just go back and say, oh, there were some really great albums that came out during this time, like you said, Food and Liquor, like this project. And I think that it really made its mark in hip hop history. So that, along with kind of this review that I just gave, I think this album is a must listen, especially for hip hop aficionados, people that want to just hear quality rap, creative, witty lines that just exemplify hip hop at some of its height and its full potential, along with experimentation and just trying something different sonically. I think this album is great, and there's no doubt in my mind that this is a classic project.
Yeah, it's an album that I don't think most people think of as a classic. Like, it doesn't get mentioned a lot or enough, I think, because of the quality of it. So I would say it's certainly a classic, because one of the things you have to look at with classic albums is how different were they to albums that came out at the time? Because a lot of albums change the course of history, change how things sound, or they're just entirely different from what's coming out at the time. Because if you have an album that sounds just like everything else, it's really hard to differentiate yourself from the crowd, and you kind of get lost in, every other sound that's coming out right now, especially if you're like riding a wave. But I think
Yeah.
Clipse and the Neptunes came out with something that is completely original and unique to them. And I think it's an album that you can really say is one of a kind. So I think that would make it certainly a classic. I think it's certainly a classic album. And like you said, it's aged really well. It doesn't sound like, if an album like that came out today, I don't think you would think twice about it. Because I think the production is just, it's not from any time, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
Unless you want to count the Neptunes because they were so popular during that time, but they had a lot of different beats out there. But yeah, I think it's just unique. And I think it's a must listen. I think if you're a rap fan and you enjoy rap music on any level, I think it's an album that you need to hear. It's an album that you need to listen to understand hip hop as a whole in history. I think it's one of my favorite albums ever. Honestly, I think it's that great.
Yeah.
We talked about Trill as a misstep, but I think plenty of great albums have things that I don't like about them here or there, and that's that. If that's your only misstep, and Trill not being that bad of a song, like to me, I mean, I think you're winning at that point. But yeah, I guess briefly we'll just say I think Clipse is one of the best groups in hip hop history. They don't get their credit, they don't get their due, but I think just what they were doing, like with their albums and with their sound, I think that they're one of the better groups in hip hop history. Not necessarily at the top with the big names like Tribe or Cast, but I think that they have something to say for sure, and I really enjoy their project.
Yeah, likewise. As far as comparing this to like Lord Willing, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Um, I didn't listen to this project as much, but when you said to review it, I remember a couple years ago I ended up giving it a listen. I thought it was dope. I remember there's some singles here, but yeah, front to back, quality songs, not a boring song, not a boring verse. And I think it's up there with Lord Willing as another classic album that this duo put out that made them one of the biggest names from a rap standpoint. Of the mid 2000s. So yeah.
Yeah, dope. Let us know what you think about Clipse. Let us know what you think about their album. Do you think it's a classic? And were there any other albums that came out around that time that you feel like didn't get it to do, or maybe was a little bit better than this album? Just let us know your general thoughts. We really appreciate any kind of feedback you guys give us.